Welcome to doing things the old-fashioned way. I'm doing a disk clone right now. I've got a bunch of these that I need to set up. 10 laptops worth. So I've already done one. I've got this one. That one's got one in it already, and there's 7 more. So this is going to be a process and a half. But that's not the point. The point of this particular escapade is to show you how to replace a drive in one of these. So you can see what we've got. This is an Acer Aspire R7, and I'm going to be installing SSDs in these to try and get a couple more years of life out of them. So, first things first, because this is all legacy boot, and these things are set up for UEFI, I've disabled the UEFI. So, F10 save and exit on that. I made a couple of other slight tweaks, but yeah, it'll say there's no bootable device. So let's pull this thing apart. Taking a look at the bottom of this, you'll see that there are 10 screws. 4 here, 4 there, and 2 more up there. I'm here to tell you there are more than 10 screws. You have to pull off this rubber piece here, and this one right here, and that will reveal more screws. So that's what our little plastic tool is for. Okay, so you can see there's 1 more there. A little covered, but there's 2 more there. Those also need to come out. The other gotcha with these, I think it's the front 4. But I'll clarify. The front 4 and this one are one size. The rest of them are a different size. Now, these 2 here actually hold the hard drive in part of the way. As mentioned, the front 5 are one size, the back 8 are a different one. But with that off, this entire pan just lifts off and reveals pretty much everything that we want to reveal. And this is what we're interested in. So there's 2 more screws there, and then obviously there's the 4 screws around the side, and this little plastic thing that has to come off. Forgot to mention the exterior screws are a Torx T8. The interior screws, I'm using a Phillips PH1. Okay, there it is taken out. It has a little bit of a tight fit, so you might have to do a little bit of finagling with it, because it will catch on this, and it might catch a little bit on those as well. Here's the caddy with the plastic paper thing removed. It's not strictly necessary, because the only reason why it's really there is to insulate the bottom of the circuit board from the rest of the machine. You don't need that for an SSD because there's no exposed circuit board. But I'm going to leave it in there anyway, just because it's there. If somebody wants to put a hard drive in this later, it's still there. One other piece we need is this right here on the end of this drive, which is what actually makes the connection to the board here. Now you'll probably take a look at this with this new SSD and you'll think, oh dear, the screw holes don't line up, I've done something wrong. No. The SSD is thinner than a regular hard drive. And because this is put in here upside down, the screw holes will not line up. So you have to manually line up those screw holes, but it will go into place. This will fit. Everything will fit just fine. It's just because these newer SSDs are thinner than the older mechanical drives were. If you're wondering, this is all that little piece on the end is. You can go ahead and just put it back into place on the new drive like that. Reassembly is of course the opposite of disassembly. Another piece of advice I'm going to give you is to watch where you put these Phillips screws. They go in with the battery at the back of the machine, they go into the holes that are closest to you. Don't put them in the wrong ones, and then find that you cannot put the cover back on because the screw holes are covered up. Ask me how I know. Got all the screws in place. Again, making sure that they went into the right places. Now I just got to put the rubber pieces back on. The prudent thing to do would probably be to put the minimal number of screws in, flip it around, test it, make sure that it works before putting them all in, but I'm an optimist, so I'm going to assume that it'll work. Hello. I want to go into setup before it does anything else. There you can see our new SSD. So, that's how you change the drive in an Acer Aspire R7. In this case, this is an R7 572. I imagine that they're all pretty much the same, at least from this particular design. So, thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, comments, etc., please leave them below.